start with the invocation led by Mr. Andrews and then go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand if you wish.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you once again for this opportunity to be called servants. We thank you for those who come today with wishes and desires to help us to make this city of Shreveport and surrounding area a better community and to increase the quality of life for all of our citizens. For this, we say thank you. We pray that you continue to bless us and guide us. Give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we listen to these requests and deliberate to the best interests of the community. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to our regularly scheduled public meeting of the Shreveport-Caddo Parish Metropolitan Planning Commission. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make public comments on an application, we have Mpc comment slips at the speaker's stand next to the podium. And for future notification purposes, it's very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. And you'll please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board today. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant and then those speaking in favor of the application. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker thereafter. We will then hear from those who wish to speak against an application. And again, 10 minutes will be allotted for the principal spokesperson in opposition, and then 3 minutes for each additional speaker after that. One representative of the application can then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment, please. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decisions on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. For consent agenda items, which I don't believe we have any today, and other agenda items not requiring a public hearing, public comments can be made upon request by filling out an Mpc comment slip. If comments are requested for a specific agenda item, the chair will offer an opportunity for those comments prior to the commission taking action on that agenda item. All of the Mpc board decisions are subject to appeal to either the City Council or the Parish Commission, depending on the location of the property in question. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body about their procedures as related to the matter that you're concerned with. Copies of this document and the phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off your cell phones while the Mpc board is in session. The commission values your testimony and appreciates your compliance with these guidelines, and we are all glad y'all are here today. So from here, we will go on to the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second.
We'll call for the vote.
Just working on it.
Okay.
There. Just a second. It's still she's working on it.
We're having some technical issues with our voter, our little voting machine.
It's showing up there, Madam Chair.
Let's go there, bud. Yeah. Good.
I just don't have a way to vote.
You don't have one?
I don't know if it's
really broke.
I don't know. His is this way too. Did you vote?
Yeah, we all voted.
Just half of the record, just tell me after your name.
Yeah, that's what, I vote in favor of approval, so I'm still gonna need to be able to vote later. Anyway. Okay, well, we will move on to our first, there's no consent agenda, correct?
That's correct.
So this is the first time we've
Unusual,
had
but
no
there's not one.
consent
This-
agenda, okay.
Yes.
So we'll move on to our scheduled public hearings. Oh, there it is. Okay. Our first case is case number CA 218. Whoever wishes to speak in favor of that application, you can come forward.
Madam Chair, Jimmy Whittington, Caddo Parish Public Works, 505 Travis Street, Suite 820, Shreveport, 71101. Caddo Parish Public Works requested you put this matter for consideration on your agenda. However, I received a phone call from a representative of the landowners, and they were asking that this could be continued and deferred until your March meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Whittington?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be the March 7th meeting.
March 7th. Okay.
So if you wish to go ahead and just simply vote to go ahead.
I don't
and-
need to.
Yeah, if I may speak, Madam Chairman, Tom Arsenault, 333 Texas Street, Suite 700, Shreveport, 71101. I represent Progressive Bank. We're still working on some details of the rights-of-way and DOTD, and so it's just better that we postpone it. I think we'll be ready to go forward with it next month.
Okay, great. Is there anyone else, any other questions for Mr. Arsenault, or?
You might just ask if there was anybody here in
Yeah.
opposition.
Is there anybody here who would be in opposition to the application or the deferral? If seeing none.
Madam Chair, motion to approve deferral continue.
And that's second.
Motion to approve.
And we're voting in favor of the deferral,
Of
correct?
the
Yep.
def- I'm
Of
sorry,
the-
motion
of the
to.
deferral.
I'm sorry,
That's
yes,
correct.
to approve the deferral.
It's showing this time.
And the deferral is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, our next matter, case number SC 418. Preliminary and final plat. Is anyone here today, the applicant on that application?
Good afternoon, Justin Sevier, 1968 Bridgewater Avenue, Shreveport, 71106. We are here for a phase 2 of this development, and we are currently working with the city on all its requirements and the parish for its requirements as well on finalizing our entry and exits and drainage and all that sort of stuff. So all that's in the works. We're just trying to get final approval of the plat for the first 2 units of phase 2. So that's what we're here to do.
I'm not getting any requests to speak. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sevier. Anybody have a question? I'm sorry that's not popping up, but Miss Smith?
Yes. I heard you state you're not just working on the drainage, you have corrected the drainage in that area.
So we are, everything that we've done on site and in that area is performing.
phase 2.
Well, for phase 2, we are analyzing the data right now on all of the surveying, and we will route the drainage accordingly. And we're working already with the city and the parish to make sure that we meet every requirement that we're supposed to meet. So
Very good.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem.
Madam Chair, real
Any other
quick.
questions? Yes, Mr.
Justin, is this the final phase?
So the phase 2 is the final phase, but unit A and B, there's actually a C and D that we'll come back for in about a year, probably.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is anybody else here in favor of the application would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Board,
motion to
off-
approve.
off of it?
Second.
Okay, motion to approve? I'm not getting,
It's not coming.
It'll be up.
Okay, we ready to vote?
Not yet.
pardon us again.
Raise our hand.
Just a little reason.
Should we just?
Show of hands.
Show of hands, show of hands for approval? Unanimous? Okay.
Oh, now we can vote.
Do you want to for the record, should we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it, okay.
Y'all made Nancy sit by herself. Nobody
I
sit
know,
with
I
us.
have nobody to cheat with or anything.
Wendy, scoot over. Scoot over.
All right, motion is approved. Thank you. All right. Next application, case number SC 518, preliminary and final plat.
Well, this is a sister case
Okay.
up to the one he had before, but he's here to answer questions if you have any, but it's basically
Same deal.
the same case.
No questions for Mr. Severe, anyone?
No.
Okay, no one, is anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay,
Madam Chair, motion approved.
Second.
okay, we'll try calling for the vote again.
Show of hands.
Show of hands? All in favor?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous.
All right, motion is approved. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for your patience. Okay, our next application, case number C218. We have a zoning request. Oh,
Hello, Brian McNew with McNew Architecture, 3556 Uri Drive, Shreveport, 71105, representing Louisiana Association for the Blind. This rezoning request actually started in about, I believe, and Mr. Jean can probably help me out on this, probably around 2005. The first property that we rezoned was 1714 Claiborne for the eye clinic, and we are trying to bring these three properties actually into the current zoning to match the highest and best use for the current zoning code. In his report, you'll see that there's a statement in there about we are in the process of getting several properties at 1715 Claiborne re-subdivided. That was submitted back at the end of December, and we found out a little while ago that it has received approval for that replat, and it's just awaiting final signatures. So that part has been done. We were actually pursuing a site plan approval, but the client had to step back because of their business model might be changing due to changes with the federal government and how they do business with the federal government. So their building might change a little bit in size and function, but it won't be anything that requires a more, I guess, liberal zoning than what we're requesting. There might be light manufacturing as with regards to assembly of small components in there, but it will not be a noisy, pollution-producing entity. It'll primarily be corporate offices and headquarters with some space that can be multifunction for small parts and assembly.
all right, thank you. And is it McNew, Mr. McNew?
McNew,
Okay.
McNew.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. McNew? No, okay.
Madam Chair, you are familiar with the stipulations that staff has recommended that we consider?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Okay, do we have anyone here in opposition to the application? Seeing none, any discussion or questions? All right, so we have there's a few. Are they actually stipulations, or they're just more, a couple of requirements before permits can be?
Just mostly an official notification of what the next steps will be required
Right,
before
that's
they can
what,
develop.
okay. Okay. So I would call for the motion.
Madam Chair, motion approved
Second.
as submitted.
Okay. Motion to approve. Call for the vote.
Bear with us just a minute, we'll try it again.
Yeah.
Waiting on the vote.
I know. We're just trying to see if we can get it moving smoothly.
It's going to filter into our discussion on the wireless telecommunications.
She can work on it
This
while
is
we're
starting to
doing
remind
that.
me of the elevator.
Yeah, between this and the elevator, it's like a whole new.
Where are the numbers?
Okay, well, show of hands for those who approve. Okay. Unanimous. Motion is approved. Thank you. I guess we'll move on to the next application, which is case number C318, another zoning request.
Good afternoon. My name is
Good afternoon.
Lakwat Ali. I'm planning to open a used car lot at 795 West 70th Street.
Can you just state your address for the record?
Address,
Yes.
my residence address?
Did you say it?
The address is 795 West 70th Street.
Okay, this is just for the staff so they can contact you.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm planning to open a used car lot, displaying my cars up front at 795 West 70th Street. There's 5 lots to this property. I'm gonna be using to park my cars. That's why I'm requesting to get the zoning to park extra cars back there.
Okay. Any questions,
Yeah, I have a
gentlemen?
question.
Okay, Ms. Smith?
Yes. Have you met with the residential people in that area? Because you're surrounded with nothing but residential houses.
Yes,
You met with them?
yes, I did.
Okay. And they are agreeing with you?
Yes. They don't have any problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Ali? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ali. Anybody else here to speak in favor of this application? Seeing no one else, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? And remember, our first speaker will be allotted 10 minutes and 3 minutes for any speakers thereafter.
My name is Roy Lee Samuel. Address 7111 Union Avenue, 71106. We speaking against this. This shouldn't be, it's a resident area. It shouldn't be rezoned. They got another car, junkyard or whatever right down the street on 71st. Big rats, everything running around there. This shouldn't be here. It should stay resident like it should be. And we have some more members that will against it, residents that against it. And we have one, we have some pictures of it that already, what it looks like now. And we have one lady live right in the front of this junkyard, whatever it is. And she couldn't be here. She wrote something to give you all. And this, we should stay resident area.
Yeah, you can just give it to her and she'll, thank you.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Samuels?
I have.
Ms. Smith?
He said he met with the
Ma'am?
residents in the area
Yes, ma'am.
Did you all have a meeting, a neighborhood meeting?
Do we have one?
No, I'm
She
asking.
said, did the man meet?
Oh, no, I can't hear that good. No, they didn't have, I hadn't seen him. We
Okay,
hadn't seen
thank
him.
you,
No, ma'am.
you've answered.
No, ma'am, we hadn't seen him.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Amir.
Any other questions for Mr. Samuels? Okay, thank you, Mr. Samuels. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak in opposition?
I just agree with my husband.
Can you state your name?
Vita Samuel, 7111 Union Avenue, 71106, Shreveport, Louisiana. The property that is being spoken of is horrible. We call all the time about cleaning up the property in the right-of-way. The cars that are on 7th Street already have 7th Street looking a mess. And like my husband said, there's rodents, rats, whatever, in these old cars that are parked there. He may want to use it for a used car lot, but he's not going to sell anything. He's just going to use the parts off of those wrecked cars. And those old cars will harbor rats and stuff. And that whole area where we are is residential. We do our best to try and keep it cleaned up in the block we live in. It's very hard. We call every other month or so, asking property standards to send someone out to clean that right-of-way up from 7th Street to 71st. From 71st to 73rd, we keep that cleaned up. But the block where this zoning request is coming from stays nasty all the time. I'm ashamed for people to come down the street to my house. We don't need to have this area rezoned. We need to keep someone out there that's gonna clean the property up from the red light of 7th Street south, on the east side of 7th Street, that's where this is, the east side of 7th Street, down Union South to 71st. Is a mess, and we've given the pictures.
All right, thank you, Ms. Samuels. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Samuels? Seeing none. Is anyone else here to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, no. Would the applicant care to make a rebuttal? Mr. Ali, do you have an opportunity to rebut the opposition if you would like.
These vacant lots, I've been cleaning them up all the time, and I'm planning to put the fence over there. I'm not planning to conduct any kind of business from these lots. It's going to be strictly parking area. I'm going to put the fence around all these lots, make it look real nice and cleaned. I'm going to be conducting business in front of the West 70th Street, which is 795 West 70th. And 795 West 70th is already zoned to C3, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm not going to conduct any kind of business back there. I'm going to put some nice fence and parking area to park cars, extra cars.
Okay,
That's all.
thank you. Does any of our board have any questions, Mr. Young?
I have one for either Mr. Dean or Mr. Sweeney, whoever wants to tackle this one. I think I'm looking at the correct property and where it's at. The house is up at the front.
That's correct.
He owns that, and he wants to pay behind it all the way over to 71st Street. There was a auto repair business that was on the corner of Amelia and Mansfield Road at one time. It wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be a car lot, and it was actually more of a repair business. I think they've now shut it completely down. And we got into a big, long conversation about storage vehicles, especially non-running vehicles and those type of things. And that's kind of what I'm a little bit concerned about also on this application. I'm sorry. That's kind of what I'm also a little bit concerned about on this application is you basically become a storage yard.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But these pictures they look like fall pictures. The property looks pretty rough.
It does.
It looks like property standards needs to be looking
Do
at
something about that.
something. But, if this was all fronted on a heavy commercial corridor, which the front house is, I probably have a little bit of perspective, but it's being pushed all the way back to 71st, which causes me concern.
I understand, totally understand.
That's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
And may I say something?
Yes, Ms. Smith?
I concur. From looking at this, property standard, that's who they really need to call. Because from that picture, I see a goat. And I'm just telling you, it is a disgrace.
Don't be attacking goats.
Because I may be one if you had it. That is hard.
Okay, is there any other discussion or comments from our board before we call for the vote? This is a request to rezone an R17 to a C3.
Madam Chair, my motion is to deny.
Second.
Motion to deny and a second. We have a second from Ms. Smith, motion from Mr. Andrews. No other discussion, we call for the vote. Motion to deny.
Oh, no, the motion's to deny, so you're concurring with that.
So what I
Yes,
push
the motion on the floor is to deny the application.
Oh, let me try to reach this thing.
They really need to get that closer for you.
It appears that was unanimous denial of the motion, of the application. And Mr. Ali, I would encourage you to continue talking with our staff about other ideas and ways that you can use that property, and working with the neighbors to come up with some ideas, maybe as a group, that would bring that community up, and it would be more agreeable to your neighbors, because I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities out there for that particular piece of land. I think you have a lot of interested people here, so I would encourage you to talk to them. All right. Our next application is case number C418, special use permit and site plan. Is there anyone here with the applicant who wishes to address the board? Yes. Is that you? I'm sorry? Yeah, case number C418.
Yes. My name is Jalal Omar.
I'm sorry?
And no, speak.
You can step back just a little bit. It'll pick you up.
Yeah, my name is Jalal Omar, the business owner of 4242 Byers Road in Shreveport, Louisiana. We try to get approved for liquor zoning.
Okay, and can you set your last name again?
Omar.
Omar?
Yeah.
Mr. Omar? Okay. Okay, and can you just tell us a little bit about this application?
We already had a zoning for the beer, which is Mr. Roy Harry. He did it last year, and people asking for liquor in that area. And we try to get the liquor which is behind the counter, not in the floor. So my other business get more better.
Okay, and you're seeking a special use permit to allow that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Omar. Does any of our board members have any questions for Mr. Omar? No questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Omar. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application?
My name is Clara Farley. I live at 6201 Alameda Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. And I'm here in representing the West Peak Neighborhood Association and the surrounding areas, which includes the Western Hills Unit 7, La Tierra, and Kentwood. And we are opposed to the sale of liquor at this location. We've bound him before to not to oppose for any alcohol at all, but we certainly do not want liquor in that location. And because it's located in our entranceway, this is how we come in and out there. The area is always infested with litter. We have to go up there, I go up there and pick up just bags of bottles and cans and beer cans and all of that. We have to clear this area out, you know, because it looks such a mess. We have to go up there and clean it out. Then there's that Lottery complex that like just a block from the location, and there's loitering always there. We've had drug activities in that area. Problem recently had 2 shootings there. And in fact, there was one young man that was killed there. There's abandoned property there next door to it. Our children catches the bus right down the street. There's no other business other than there's a dialysis clinic and there's a dental office. But there's the library that the children has to walk up and down in order to pass this location in order to get to the library. So we are asking that you all would vote no to this rezoning, because in this area it would be a disaster there at 4242 Pines Road. We know that studies have shown that various forms of alcohol, especially liquor, causes a safety hazard. It's a safety to the public and the health and the life in this community. So please consider the safety in our neighborhood, and especially for our children and for us to go in and out. We have to pass by this every day. And I just wish that you all would have a heart and think about the people and the neighbors there. We've done a lot to try to keep that area up over there, and we would not like for it to go down. So please vote no on this, please. Thank you.
All right, and is it Mrs. Farley?
Farley.
Ms. Farley. Does
Mhm.
anybody have any questions for Mrs. Farley?
Well, I would
Ms.
just
Smith?
like to say that I have gotten a lot of calls from that area. I don't live in that area, but I'm very familiar with it, and I know you all have done a lot of hard work to keep it up. And I know where that place is located, and right behind it is those apartments. It's been killing there, drinking there, loitering around, and you all have done a magnificent job cleaning it up, and I'm so happy to see you all here today to oppose it.
Thank you.
Is that all? Any more questions from our board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Farley. Anyone else to speak in opposition?
Good afternoon. My name is Joyce Lawrence. I'm the homeowner at 4107 Scenic Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71119. As Shreveport undergoes a profound demographic shift amidst a decrease in population for numerous reasons, we are in a distressed economy with continually high unemployment. The city has experienced a major drop in housing starts over the past decade, and the inequality of sound, sustainable development continues for many of our communities. These disconcerting conditions exist despite the adoption of a master plan and a unified development code, which did nothing for including our communities, nor did they hear us when we railed against being excluded. The persistence of flooding predominantly minority communities with liquor is clearly arbitrary and capricious, lacking any basis in sound economic development practices. And we do ask ourselves and everyone to please stop spreading the false rumor that our community is anti-business. Quite the contrary. Many of our community leaders simply understand that empirical data, including demographics, disposable income, and environmental scans, are necessary to ensure a sound mix of good businesses and quality of life in the community when it comes to sustaining or expanding businesses. The West Shreveport and West Caddo Parish Corridor is the third highest tax base of this city. Yet this planning commission saw fit to allow beer and wine sales in the middle of a neighborhood already struggling to fight blight, with landlords who have divested themselves from the community and moved on only to show up to collect rent. There is the unanswered question of why the request was granted for beer and wine sales in the first place, after this community has fought years to prevent things from deteriorating our community. Our community worked in 2009 with the local elected officials to catalyze a vision about what sound economic development in West Shreveport and West Caddo Parish meant. In September 2009, that vision was presented to the City Council. Obviously, it has fallen on deaf ears in the last election, since once again we are before you with another request, not just for beer and wine, but for even hard liquor sales. The community is saturated with alcohol already, and yet another license request is still pending for the 7600 block of Pines Road right down the street. Alcohol is not a panacea for failing businesses and a bad economy. It is not a cure-all for lag in sales and those businesses who are not creative enough to increase their sales. Alcohol sales will not solve the problem, which is the community is already oversaturated. Quite frankly, we see Shreveport as becoming the next Detroit, if not already there. We ask for a no vote on the request for alcohol sales at 42 Pines Road. I personally don't understand why we're before you today when we have a master plan and a UDC code that should provide harmony between the citizens, the homeowners, and businesses. Again, I ask you to please vote no on rezoning this and allowing hard liquor sales at this community.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you.
Wait just one moment. Is there anybody on our board who has a question for Ms. Lawrence? No questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Anyone else here in opposition to this application? Nobody? Okay. Mr. Omar, would you care to rebut?
Yes, the store, all around the store, I mean, like, aside for the cleaning, we always even clean around the store. If it's further from the store, that's up to the other, whoever threw the trash away, you know. But in my area, everything's, I mean, it's clean. And the problems in the community behind us, and the department, since we came in here to this place, we never had no problem. We didn't have even 911 calling problem. We always give advice to the young boys and young girls over there. And the crime there happened before I bought it, before all the other owners has bought it. Well, since we moved up there, everything's lower down. Nothing's gonna happen. And even when we have the business grow up, we're still gonna have the churches, the community. But further for cleaning up, we do the most everything. And I have proof, all cameras around.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Omar, any
Mr.
questions?
Colvin had a question.
Mr. Joseph?
Mr. Omar. Colvin.
Mr. Omar? Oh, we have a question. Mr. Joseph?
Mr. Colvin.
Oh, Mr. Colvin, I'm sorry.
Ebony, can you put the little map up of shows the residentials and the business up here on this one behind us? Okay. Just to let you know, we are under the Unified Development Code now. Unfortunately, your business is right up next to R17, RE and R17 churches and schools in that area. We've had a business similar to yours in a separate part of town that passed, but it was commercial around it. You're going to hard liquor makes it like a C4, not a C2, which you're currently zoned for. So I'm speaking for myself, but we're probably going to have a dilemma as the board to give you that higher rating next to residential. Not because you haven't been doing all the things that you said you were doing, cleaning things up and all that. It's just the particular spot that your store is in. If it was across the interstate on Pines Road in a heavier commercial area, you'd be able to get what you want probably in a C4. I don't know, it depends on the spot. But where you're at is more predominantly residential. I hope I'm saying all this right, because I figure this one will be appealed to the city council, probably be appealed to a court if you don't get what you want. But again, as my vote, I can't get there from where it's located. I'm just being candid with you. And it's not because you hadn't cleaned up, because you hadn't done the right thing in the neighborhood. That's your business and your livelihood. But I'm just telling you, where it's at is the detriment to you, okay? Next to the residential. And I hope you understand that, apartments behind you and, you know, single family homes. But anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up. I want to put it on record, but you know, it'll come to the vote. There'll be a motion, there'll be a second, and there'll be the majority wins, okay? So I just want to tell you the thought process behind it, all right?
And plus, you know, we're gonna hire officer Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right.
police officer.
Well, thank you for your time.
Okay, hang on just one
Excuse
minute, Mr. Omar. I think Mr. Young has a question.
Thank you. I want to kind of bounce off what Dale said, Mr. Omar. We've had multiple cases come up in the last couple months where we've had to deal with liquor sales and hard liquor. And in all those cases, they were in highly commercial areas as opposed to abutting. I want to let you know that had this application came up for beer and wine located with almost no commercial else around it, I'm not sure you would get a beer and wine with a UDC today. Maybe, but I think it would be something to be hard to look at because there's very little commercial in that area. It's possible. Do I?
It's by right.
By right. It's used by right because it was already there and it was already
It's by right in the ordinance.
in the ordinance. Okay, so don't take if it's denied today. Don't take this as because of where that property is sitting and it's so heavy in residential is creating the problem. So because we had a very tough case before it was on Kings Highway, and it was commercial corridor, residential on both sides behind it, but because it was located in commercial corridor, it was much easier for us to make a determination on it. So, so if it doesn't go your way, understand that. And by the same token, if it doesn't go your way, understand you have the right to appeal the case. Okay? So that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Omar.
Mr. Omar, briefly, to kind of follow up on Mr. Colvin and Mr. Young, did staff speak with you as it regards the commercial applications in terms of the traffic in that area?
No.
The mitigation and kind of resolving some of the traffic, the heavy volumes of traffic that will be created if we were to approve the application?
No.
Okay. I think that's going to be, I want to get my concern on the record as regards the fact that we have a heavy traffic area here, and there's probably no way to kind of resolve or mitigate to lessen the negative impact of the increase in traffic in that area. As they all pointed out, it's a residential area, and you're seeking a very highly commercial use in that area, and it's not really compatible with where your business is. And again, that's through no fault of your own, it's just physically where your business is located, okay?
Madam Chair, I'd hate to.
That's
but
okay. Mr. Young.
I want to expound on what he said because it's a very good point. I drove out there and looked at your property. And if you're going north, you have to go on La Tierra to access your property because it's very hard to make a 360-degree turn to come back in. That is part of the traffic issues. And in the previous case that we discussed on Kings Highway, we didn't allow an access point to come on the side road. They had to access off of Kings Highway, off the main road. You have an access point that's both on La Tierra and off of Pines Road. And that looking at the previous case we had, we didn't want an access off of the neighborhood road. We wanted it strictly off more of the commercial road. And it's a very hard turn to make to do that. You follow what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I think the transportation engineering would say they wouldn't want somebody to do that hard 360 to come in that driveway. So if we were to go to the point of saying, okay, but you got to close your side drives that's on La Tierra, it would create a traffic issue, a traffic safety concern that we don't even know the city engineering would say was okay. They would probably deny the application based on that. So one problem creates the next problem. So, Mr. Jean?
We did consult with the engineering department, and they concurred with everything that we had on our report. They were in concurrence with that, and they did say that it would not work if we tried to close that off or if we tried a median cut.
So it's a domino effect. I don't know if you know what that means, but one falls into the other and falls to the other and creates one problem after another problem after another problem. And so you try to fix one problem and another problem crops up. So anyway.
All right, thank you, Mr. Young. Anybody else on our board? Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Omar. Just in terms of discussion, does anybody have any comments or questions? I have a question for our staff, Mr. Sweeney or Mr. Jean. I just want to clarify. He's not actually requesting a zoning change to C4, but he's requesting basically the same use as a C4, but without the zoning change. And so in order to get that special use, y'all have been researching ways that he could adjust or adapt or mitigate the property to make it work, but you were not successful. You were not able to find any ways. Is that what y'all's?
That's correct.
Okay, so unfortunately for the applicant, there really wasn't an opportunity for him to mitigate or to create a compatibility. I mean, there's the structure of the roadway, the location of the property, the adjacent properties, there just really wasn't that opportunity, unlike some of our other applications.
That's
Right,
correct.
the other application, you could use the site plan, because you're approving what's before you as a site plan and a special use permit. You could use the site plan to mitigate the problems, or the access, or the traffic-related issues. And as was explained just a few minutes ago, we didn't have that avenue here because there's not really any way to do that with this
There's no
property.
conceivable site plan.
That's
that
correct.
could make it work.
That is correct.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I want to let the record reflect, Madam Chair, that I received a phone call last week from Ms. Gwendolyn M. Phillips, and her written opposition is in our file, and I basically advised her that we would take the matter under consideration and rule accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. I've received a couple of phone calls myself, too.
And I received several phone calls, and some of them are here today that was in opposition.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion on the table?
Madam Chair, my motion is to deny.
Second.
Mr. Andrews, motion to deny. Ms. Smith, second. Call for the vote. And the vote is to deny, to make that clear. All right, a unanimous denial of this application. And again, Mr. Omar, as with our previous applicant, I would encourage you to continue working with our staff for any type of developments or changes you would like to make with your property to make it more compatible or to make it more successful in your neighborhood. Thank you. All right, our next application, case number C618, a zoning request.
Randall Smoke with Cawthorn Graff Smoke Engineering, representing, in this case, really CB&I, but because of the property owner's alliance, I'm kind of here on their behalf also. The request today is to change the zoning of this property from C4 back to I2, which it was before it was down zoned. And it's the applicant, Alliance Investments, is doing this, and if the zoning is approved, then they are working with CB&I, which is Chicago Bridge and Iron. They make pipe fittings, large size pipe fittings. And their request or desire to enlarge their facility there. I think probably you have our preliminary site plan that shows that. The piece of property we have here is a vacant piece of property that's behind a Gateway Tire and also a on-site storage facility. And the way they developed it, they left a vacant piece of property which is directly behind CB&I's property. So it's a bunch CB&I's property. And then a portion of this property goes out to Airport Drive, which is at the extension of the runway and is covered by an navigation easement, basically, or runway protection zone. So it limits what can be done on that property as far as height goes. So on that portion of the property, CB&I is looking at using it for a lay-down yard where they would put raw materials in as it comes in before it's processed. But the buildings would be in the back portion behind the South Gateway Tire, and then their existing property and industrial facility that's on Jack Wells Boulevard. Any questions?
Okay, and is it Mr. Smoke?
Yes.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Smoke from our board? No questions? Thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here who wants to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Young, second by Ms. Smith. Call for the vote. All right. We have a unanimous approval. Thank you.
I could got that for you.
All right. Next application is case number
It's
number
P118.
P118, which is another zoning request.
Good afternoon. Andy Craig, Moore and Associates, 1324 North Hearn, Suite 301. This project's been before you a couple of times. We have already had rezoning on the R15 tract last year and a subdivision plat approval for R15. When we got the survey done and got to doing the detailed geometrics, we had to put a turnaround in, a cul-de-sac at the end of the street. We realized we didn't have quite enough room to get two of the lots in. And so the owner of the trailer park owns this, and so he had this unused portion, corner there in the track, the trailer park, so we needed to extend the two lots there to get those two lots in. And Mpc staff pointed out to me, well, that was zoned to RMHP, not the R15 as we had previously. So this is just to bring this little piece in as R15 to match the rest of it, and we can finish up that plat and get those two lots in. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Craig. Anybody have any questions on our board? All right, thanks, Mr. Craig. Anybody else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone in opposition? All right.
Motion approved.
Motion approved
Second.
by Mr. Colvin, second by Mr. Young, I believe. All right, motion approved, or application approved. Thank you. All right, next application, or next case number P318. A zoning map amendment.
Hello, I'm Randall Lyles with Venture Quest Enterprises. They're 6270 Sand Hill Avenue, Shreveport, 71107. Here to look into the future development of a small strip center or possibly a business center. And,
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, just looking to develop the property down the road and wanted to make sure I get the commercial status of what I need to continue this project down the
And you're requesting a C1
Yes.
zoning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Young?
Mr. Lyles?
Yes.
Are you from Shreveport?
Well, I live in Shreveport. Yes.
Okay. Well, I knew a Randall Lyles.
I'm from Texas.
Okay, all right, very good. In this application, I just looked at it, a question is the Elena Street or whatever?
Yes.
Is that currently undedicated, or are you going to be requesting to undedicate that? Because I noticed it kind of went over both of it.
Yes, I'm requesting it to be undedicated.
Okay. Mr. Jean, is that a?
Well, if you'll look, go ahead and show them what properties you actually own there.
All these, all the way around the circle there.
Oh, so you own all of it?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why we're not concerned.
Well, I get that, but I mean, I assume there will be some application from
Yes, and
that's parish property?
that's contained in the report. Yes, it's going to be coming from you more than likely next month.
Okay, very good.
In
That's all I
fact,
have, Mr.
in our staff recommendation, it says the closure and abandonment of Elena Street right-of-way and the approval of an administrative replat and site plan by the executive will be required prior to the issuance of any permits.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Lyles.
Any other questions? Mr. Lyles? All right, thank you, Mr. Lyles. Anybody else here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody in opposition? Any discussion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Young, second by Ms. Smith. All right, the application unanimously approved. Thank you, Mr. Lyles.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we are moving on to applications by our own commission. Case number C918 and P418, City of Shreveport UDC and Caddo Parish UDC amendments. How will we proceed with this? Will there be a
I'm-
presentation?
Yes, I'm going to let Adam speak to these amendments in a brief overview, and then we will need to open it up for public comment for both the pro and con, and before you take a vote. Yes, Adam.
Okay.
I don't want to belabor this meeting any longer than I have to. We discussed these amendments briefly during our lunch meeting, and so I would honestly just open it up for any questions that you have that can be made on the record.
Okay.
And just for the record, these amendments were posted on our website, and there are copies out in the lobby for the public that wish to get a copy, a hard copy for their review.
Okay, and for our board, we're looking at the recommended amendments that have case numbers C918 and P418 at the top. So I just invite anyone present today who wants to make a comment or ask a question about the amendments to come forward. We welcome your input. Any of our board members have any comments or clarifications? Any staff, any further clarifications from our staff?
I'd just like to just make the point that a big section of these changes do have to do with alcoholic beverages, but this is in concert with the city because they're in the process of doing a major revision and update of Chapter 10, and in working with the city attorney's office, we have been trying to stay in sync with each other so that the UDC will be up to date as to where it needs to based on state law as well as Chapter 10. And so a lot of these amendments will pertain to that and are to make us consistent both on the city side as well as the parish side of the UDC.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve C918 and P-4-18.
Second. Motion to approve by Mr. Young, second by Mr. Who was that? Mr. Coleman. Mr. Coleman. Mr. Coleman. All right, any further discussion? We call for the vote. Motion to approve?
That's it.
All right, these applications, both of them, I guess, there's two applications?
Well, those are together as one, and they'll go each appropriately. One portion will go to the city, and then the other portion will go to the parish. That's correct.
Okay, and those were unanimously approved. Very good. All right, moving on again to another application by our commission. Case number C1018, City of Shreveport UDC amendments. And we have, if the board will look at the packet that's listed as case 16, C1018 at the top. So I would invite any staff to
The
speak.
majority of these amendments deal with wireless telecommunications. As I mentioned in our lunch meeting, that the MPC has been working very closely with the city attorney's office. There's actually representatives here, should you have any questions about the process moving forward. But again, not to belabor the meeting any longer, I'll open it up for questions and answers as needed.
And the second half of this is, the other portion of this.
Has to do with outdoor dining.
Oh, correct.
The one amendment, I believe it is 2.12.
Okay.
Correct. Has to do with outdoor dining in Shreveport.
All right. Thank you. Anybody on our board have any questions or comments? Anyone from the city attorney's office? Anybody want to make any comments or ask questions?
Yeah, the public. Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody in the public who would like to? You are welcome. This is an almost empty room.
Madam Chair, since there's no other
Very
comments.
juicy stuff.
A motion to approve C-10-18.
All right, motion by Mr. Young to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Smith. Call for the vote. unanimous approval that you do these.
Mr. Joseph, you didn't vote.
Yeah, I'm talking to Colin.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph, for welcome back. Thank you guys.
Mr. Bradford, we'll have to go.
Okay, and that ends our public hearing for today.
Yes, I'm going to, this is in response to, under old business, is the, talking about the Lamar Advertising Billboard Annual Review Fee Report, and you wanted us to provide you with an update on that. I'm going to pass out a copy of what we talked about during our lunch meeting, and I'm going to let Stephen kind of waltz you through that just to highlight some things in our, both in terms of what we've learned and in our conversations with Lamar.
Thank you.
So basically, what staff did a few things in response to what was questioned at the last meeting. We did conduct a municipality billboard annual fee review survey. The city of Monroe was $100 per jumbo sign, and New Orleans is $100 per sign structure. We are $25. City of Tyler is $85. New Iberia is $90. So you can see that we are, of all the ones surveyed, we are the lowest amount. We also conducted an internal study of manpower and other costs as related to what it would cost per billboard, and just the bottom line to that is we came up with a cost of $82.72. We believe that was very conservative, so this is very much, our fee is only $25. And we also want to point out that the city of Tyler did have a fee on the books at one time at $200 that was contested, and they ended up with $85 fee, which is very close to our numbers. We did receive a payment under protest from Lamar, which is equated to 1/2 of the amount of the fee. We did come up with a different number because of the fact that the way that we initially looked at the data was looking at faces and not looking at individual signs. So we ended up with a lower number than what was presented at the last meeting, which is $9,600. They paid half of that. Again, their correspondence says under protest.
And the other half will come in July.
Okay, so that's basically my report.
All right. That is a very interesting report, I must say. I was surprised, and the numbers were interesting.
So,
Mr. Joseph?
Mrs. Jean and Mrs. Sweeney, Lamar has agreed to pay the amount that we've reduced. They're just
Yes.
paying it in two separate payments?
That's correct. And I had offered that to him from the very beginning, that they could split their payment. At that time, we thought the number was higher, and it was around $16,000. Now the number is $9,600. So they paid us $4,800 about last week, and then we'll get another $4,800 from them in July of this year.
And they've indicated that they're fine with the assessment as we're phrasing it going forward?
The letter says, and the one that I gave you a copy of, is that they're paying it under protest. They still do not believe it's constitutional or the right thing to do, but they have decided it's in their best interest to go ahead and pay the fee and to proceed with the process so that there's no interruption in their services to their clients.
Thank you.
That's great. I'm glad they did.
Resolved.
All right, so that's, any other old business?
I just
No.
want to say hello to Joe Kane before he leaves.
Hi, Joe.
All right.
I know.
Just in general. I just want to say hello to you in general.
No, there's no other old business. There is new business.
New business?
And you should have had at your seat there in front of you, you should have a copy of the new appointments for committees for 2018. Please look at those and remember that you are on those committees, and we will proceed to do various things going forward into this new year. The business of a lot of revisions and changes. The Rules and Procedures Committee, I'm going to be calling you guys together very soon to talk about personnel policy revisions. And so that's been a high priority of mine with you guys for a long time for the organization. And like we did the bylaws, we did a wonderful job on the bylaws. And that was good. I mean, seriously. So, I mean, the work is never done. So is the old thing.
Notice how you got put on this one.
I mean, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, ma'am.
Will we get a copy once they finish the rules?
A copy of what now?
The rules and procedures, once the committee's done.
Yes, it was sent to you, and we can, let's make sure, Mary Beth, let's make sure that we mail a copy to Bessie if we haven't done so. We actually emailed it to all of y'all, and we actually gave you a copy at the last meeting, but if we didn't get it to you, we'll get it to you now.
Please do.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, actually, it's in your book. I'm sorry. If you look at the back of, your binder, the copy of the bylaws is in there.
Oh, I have the bylaws.
She was talking about the new rules committee when they're done.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Are you talking about for the personnel policy?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, it would come back before you. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. It'll come back before you guys to make a final approval or changes thereof. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I misunderstood.
Okay. Is there any other new business? I've lost my agenda.
The only other thing I want to mention to you was just real quickly was that the response from the My Permit Now presentation.
That was the most wonderful meeting, I have to say.
We had a great response on the 24th. Not saying there was just a huge number of people, but the people were important to have there.
And they were very engaged.
Industry representatives as far as the development community, a city councilman, a parish commissioner, as well as what was so intriguing was that we made a real connection with the IT and the permits office of the city. And they are very, very interested in this program. And I tried, and you know, I really appreciate the fact that Alan Young and Nancy Cooper were there, because that showed the support for, and Windsor Andrews. I'm sorry, Windsor, I didn't mean to say that.
You were there.
I'm sorry.
The first one there.
Forgive me. In fact, he's the first one there. But all three of y'all were there, and I just want to say to you, I appreciate that support. A lot of folks, you know, walk into these things kind of questioning, why in the world are you trying to push this idea? But once people were in there, the follow-up, I'm already seeing emails in desire to have a series of meetings within the city with various departments to get them plugged in. And we've already had several of our people in the city to reach out to some of the recent clients of My Permit Now or My Government Online. And like, for example, the city of Pensacola or Escambia County has just recently came online with their services. And they reached out to them and got some good references from them. We answered all their questions. What throws people for a loop here is this is a government service to a government. And we can save the city and the parish tremendous amount of money on this and put the MPC in a position to be able to be a key player in making certain that all these pieces of the development picture come together in such a way that it will just basically catapult us further into the 21st century, so to speak, and make us really able to create an efficient government service to our citizens, our applicants, and to our elected officials. Jeff Everson was there, Steve Jackson was there from the Parish Commission. They were very interested in seeing what they've heard. They want to do further research, but it is part of it will be a slow growing process, but I believe that there is an opportunity for us to see some real change in how we do business. One particular developer, applicant type person was very engaged and very impressed, and he spoke a lot. Fred White. Yes. And he was, and I was very appreciative of the things he had to say. And so I'm just telling you, it's going to take a group effort to get the city council and the mayor and the parish commission and those folks to kind of see this vision, because it's going to take people calling people and say, hey, we need to do something about this, or at least open the door to consider it. And if nothing else, this is a great public relations thing for the MPC.
Right, if I could make
Right.
a couple of comments, because I did not really appreciate what this was about. I didn't really get it, even though I was pushing for the My Permit thing. I didn't realize how much they do, the My Government Online. I thought this was just strictly building permits, but it's much more than that. And it's also run out of our state. It's run, the group that does it is the government down in Thibodeau.
In Homa.
In Homa, in Terrebonne Parish.
That's right.
Homa. And how many states are they in now? 12?
They say they'll be in 10 states as of this next month.
Okay, I thought they were.
They were in
bumped
8
from
and now
10
they're going to 10.
Okay, and so this is a big deal, and so and it's also supporting our state. But and the gentleman who presented everything,
Ryan
he was
Hutchinson.
really good, very clear,
Yes.
very friendly, very easy to understand. Working with him, and he's got a staff of people, like 30 people, that work with him. So if you take this on, they're at your disposal.
That's right.
To do this, and it's just a great way to get everybody collaborating within our city rather than working separately and
That's right.
silos and all that. And it's fast and it's cheap.
Yeah, because what
It's
freaks
a
everybody
it's a
else
non-profit.
is to say that the tech support is at no cost. No
No.
private company can do that.
And the IT group that was there, the gals they were fascinated.
Yes.
With
And they asked
with
hard
the capability
questions.
of this
Yeah.
software.
It was like very difficult,
Yeah.
poignant questions.
And they
knew
developed
it.
the software, so
Right.
they know what they're talking about. They're not just consultants. They developed it, and they're constantly tweaking it to make it even more perfect.
Right.
And they were able to implement it, I think, was it Pensacola, in 6 months.
Yes.
So it doesn't, I hope that we don't, tiptoe around this for years. I hope we get going on this.
Well, I again, word of mouth, talking to key officials is going to be so imperative, because it's too easy to kind of slough this off or act like it's not a big deal. But if people begin to realize we could all get on the same page, improve our level of communication, and save our taxpayers
Yes.
money.
And it's faster. The developers in
Right.
particular should love this.
What
Yeah.
part of this would you not want to do? Is
Right,
my
there's no
question.
downside.
Right.
Madam Chair, what I got out of the meeting was this is a two-part. The one part of the My Permit or My Government now was how it incorporated all the different divisions within the government. And I even like the fact that they came back after it was up and going and did the data conversion, so they're not trying to mess with two systems. They actually go import the data into a format where they can still use it to go access and go back. But the part that everybody forgets about, for a nominal fee of $10 additional to your permit, that's it.
Yeah, or whatever.
You now have the ability as a builder or developer to get email text
Yeah.
that says, okay, your electrical inspection, second electrical inspection is now done, which tells a builder that he can go start closing up walls.
Yeah.
And put hanging rock and those type of things.
And they're
And so
tracking
that
all the
information
people.
flowing faster is critical for the developers. And we're not talking about a $500 or a $1,000 cost. We're talking about $10.
Yeah.
And you make a builder or developer's life streamlined.
Right.
And that's the first $10 they'll spend out of their pocket because of the benefits they get to them. And I think the way it works is they can have multiple people that can get that email. They can just, whoever they put on there. And so it'll make us, like you said, really coming into the 21st century. So I've liked the concept and idea after hearing them, especially when I looked at the technical side about data conversion and getting it all there, and they work with you all the way through this process. That's as big a benefit as anything else when you can bring all those old records with you.
It's a big deal for the citizens, and since we are a citizens advisory board, we should be really aware of this, and I think we need to have him come back because.
But he said he'd be willing to come back and he'd bring back his guy who actually does most of the talking, and he's good too.
That's right, because he wasn't even
Right.
there, and this guy was great. But they have won these awards, like
Yes.
in these huge competitions where
international
little tiny
awards.
Homa has won this one software package.
Terrible.
It's crazy. I know. I just had no idea
Right.
the scope of it.
Alan, I got the chance when Alan was with me at the conference in Homa, I got a chance to introduce him to Kevin Balaje, who is the guy who came up with the idea that runs the organization that Ryan works for. And I know this has been a long time coming, but I do appreciate the fact that you guys have been so supportive to do something about this. You're committed to doing it. And I'm telling you, we've already had elected officials already say to us that attended the meeting, This is a great opportunity for the MPC to do something that really makes a huge difference. And I'm not saying we're trying to get credit for it, but it is our idea. And I'm just saying,
fantastic.
it's time to let people know
Pat us
what we
off
can
on
do.
that.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go down to Homa, I will go with you. We can go tour it. We can go talk to them.
Yes.
It's fabulous.
But anyway, just hope that we'll keep this alive, hope this will continue, and we'll keep
Right.
you posted.
So yeah, so just keep us posted on the next step, because I really want to keep pushing
Right.
it.
Right. And that's all my reports.
Other matters to be reviewed by the commission, was that really anything else?
I don't have anything that's pending right now.
Okay, chair and board comments, any comments, anything?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to throw a rock at Adam and say thank you for coordinating that event that you guys just got through talking about. You were out of the room, but I know that you played a role in providing leadership for that business of my government coming here and the explanation that they gave us. And then when I open up my material that, can't even call her name now, I'm sorry. Ms. Summerall sent out, where she says you can, your
Yes.
packet is up now, and I'm tootling through it, and then I get down to the new part and going, oh my God. And it was your recommendation, your changes to be in concert with Chapter 10 or whatever that is that deals with alcohol. So my hat's off to you and everybody that helped you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, a lot of work.
Well, I can tell you that Adam and Karen Strand have burned the midnight oil. They're not here with us anymore.
I was like,
They burned the midnight oil working overtime to pull those pieces together, especially on the telecommunications. I thought for a while Adam was going to lose his mind over that because it was just demanding. It was so demanding. But the reality is I do appreciate the fact that this has given us an opportunity to work in a real good way, especially with the city attorney's office, and to build that bridge and to be able to accomplish something together that helps both the MPC and the city.
all right.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
See you on March the 7th.
March the 7th. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Good job. Madam Chair.